Hey everybody, Gamer Dan is with us again. Gamer Dan, what's happening?
Hey, hey. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Keeping on top of things. I'm really enjoying Next Fest on Steam. All the new indie titles, highlighting a lot of smaller companies. Some cute stuff on there. Enjoying
So
it.
nice, nice. And yeah, in case some of you don't know, I've relocated, which is why the place looks a bit bigger. But yeah, maybe it makes no difference to you because it's always a blank white background anyway. So yeah, we're here today, and Gamer Dan has brought up some very interesting things to discuss. To do with Steam. But actually, first we're going to talk about Pokemon for a brief moment, weren't we?
Yes.
hmm All right, so everybody. I got this ridiculous annoying cough. Let me just do it one more time. In fact, let me mute my mic, everybody, and get it out my way. Three, two. Oh my god, it's a sip of coffee. Okay, and right, today we're going to jump in talking about good old pocket monsters, and after that,
hmm
hopefully, we'll be able to chat a bit about Steam because that's what's next on the roster. Hopefully, start getting some streaming going. Maybe expand to Twitch, and so on. But one step at a time. Okay, people. Let's hear from Gamer Dan. Gamer Dan, what was the question that you brought up? You actually wanted to discuss. Let me see if I got it in my message that you sent to me. Okay. Okay. First thing
Yeah, it was
is,
basically Pokemon rules the roost in the monster kind of monster ally breeding genre. There's no one bigger. It's decades of games. It's just an unshakable foundation of a solid game and familiarity.
yeah.
People grew up with these things. It's why Dexit was such a frustrating thing. People grew up with their Pokemon and then having in the next game not include it, angry. But I've recently been trying other games, kind of branching out, trying other games that have the same formula, same kind of premise. Hey, I'm a guy, I'm catching monsters, and I catch all, gotta catch them all. And there's some really nice titles out there, some cute ones. One that I really enjoyed recently was Cassette Beats. It's basically you catch these little characters, these monsters around the world, you level them up, they evolve, but you can remix them in mid battle or before battle. So you can change their type depending on how you want to use them. It's really clever. It's just an interesting mechanic, and it adds like a layer of an extra layer on top of the combat. So, but I wanted to wonder: is it worth it? All these companies trying to mooch in on Nintendo's, on Game Freak's kind of turf. Do they have any
Hmm.
stake? It's almost like in the early 2000s when there were a whole mess of MMOs, of massively online games came out. Some really quality games. My mate was a big fan of the Conan one, loved it. But everyone just kind of defaulted back to World of Warcraft because it was the one that was the biggest one. Everyone had put more time in that than anything else. It was where everyone was. So the market dried up. Yeah, some of them survived. Guild Wars too, still around, but you don't see a lot of these games anymore because you know World of Warcraft just picked them out of it picked them out of its teeth.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Is Game Freak going to do the same thing to a lot of smaller companies, a lot of smaller titles that could maybe should have a little bit of a day in the sun?
Wow, that's deep. Yeah. And by the way, Dexit, is that digital? I haven't heard of that actually.
Oh, Dexit was basically it was Pokemon, the Pokédex. It was when they released Sword and
Oh.
Shield.
Hmm.
There was a controversy over the fact that they cut a whole mess of classic Pokemon out and they weren't going to be in it. So people were pissed. It was like, hey, this is my favorite Pokemon. It's not in a new game. Rah, 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 rah. And there was a really strong argument that I watched at the time when people were getting pissed off. And it said that Pokemon is a brand that it premises a connection. Builds an emotional connection to its characters. It's like, hey, you are going around. You've got to find these monsters and make friends with them. You've got to build a bond together. So people do. People go out and they have an intensely strong bond with certain Pokemon, with certain games. And that's why when they were cut, they weren't happy about it. I was like, hey, this my monster's not coming back. That's not fair. And it caused a bit of a controversy. There was a bit of a kerfuffle on Twitter about it, and it ended up being named Dexit. It was around the same time that,
Brexit, yeah.
yeah,
Everything goes
exactly.
Brexit, Brexit. All
It's
these
like
people.
it's like Gate at the end of any controversy in America. It was
Mm,
Watergate, and then it was this shopping gate, and then it was
Gates.
this gate and that gate, and it's just like it's just the the euphemism for a controversy.
I see.
America has its gates, and Britain has its exit.
Exit. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Exit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, that is very interesting. Yeah, I gotta say, it reminds me actually of when Pokemon. Hmm. It reminds me actually of. I know you're more of a gamer than the TV show Pokemon, dude. I used to watch TV shows quite a bit, and when they changed the voice actors, some people thought that they were going to
Mm.
boycott the show, and Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo. Well, company. Who's that? I forgot the comic company. Is it
But the
Funimation or
anime,
something?
I don't know. Well,
But
Funimation with the American one, yeah.
I think so. Yeah. But whoever had them at the time just said, "I don't care." And they just that was so funny. But it was kind of sad because we were hoping that all these petitions signed, bring back the original voice actor. She still wants her job. I said, get lost, you idiot. We've got new kids to hate as you know, and they don't care anyway. So it still comes down to leverage, isn't it? So
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
shame when they bring on actors, they pay them peanuts, but they work hard and they make the product a success. And then
Mm.
when the product is a success, they're like, "Hey, can I get a pay rise?" And they're like, "Bye, new actor."
It's always happened all throughout animation. Popeye, I think the person who played voice Popeye was giving the company grief, and then they found a cheaper dude. Um,
Yeah.
Another, let me see. Screw it. I had another great example, but it's not my head. But still, yeah, leverage. Oh, let's take King of the Hill in Mike Judge's King of the Hill.
Yeah.
When Fox was started to just go crazy and tried to change the whole show, I think around about season 7, he started to
Yeah.
retcon all the characters and
Wasn't season 7 when they killed off Cotton?
no, he they did 13 seasons. Quentin died towards the end.
All right.
But sorry, guys, spoiler alert. I wish we. Yeah.
Please, it's been after a decade. It's like, yeah, we get it. All right. If
Okay.
you were interested, you would have seen it.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, the same thing been said to me about Final Fantasy. One of them that I haven't finished. But yeah, that being said, it's 10 years gone. Yeah, when they were changing up King of the Hill, the only thing that gave Mike Judge had to come to a compromise because they were going to cancel the whole show. It was like they wanted to change the show, stop the characters growing. Bobby had no more birthdays and so on, and Mike Judge was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And it was one of those political situations where you have to come to a compromise. On one hand, they're thinking, "Look, Mike Judge, either you do it or we'll cut the show." Now they would love to fire him and get a new voice actor, but his voice is so much connected to Hank. They know that if they did that, the show would just fall to pieces. So the only other thing that they could pull on him is blowing the whole thing up. And so Michael Judge was like, "All right, you know what? Forget it. Let's retcon a little bit and keep the thing going." And boy, oh boy, it's funny. I was speaking to my good old mother who had her birthday yesterday, talking to me about the difference between the designing world or the developmental world and the corporate world. Like when it comes to corporate, well, I mean, I love to even look at gaming, like you're talking about now, gaming news and gaming history and the world of gaming, as far as console wars are concerned, as far as how industries are trying to assert their dominance in the market and all that stuff. It's funny, that is an entertaining tale in itself. And whereas the games themselves have tales of their own that you can enjoy. So again, the same thing's true for movies, songs, artists. The story of even like some music genres, rock music, hip hop. I love even classical music. I love listening to the story. As much as I love the actual artwork that they make. I love to hear the story about their rise to fame and all that stuff. So here we are now talking about the corporate world of games, and we are asking ourselves: is the corporate power going to override the wishes of the market and the development sphere, or this is in the consumer end of the stakeholder spectrum. So yeah, I think, well, here's the thing: when it comes to not Nintendo, Pokemon bubbling up other people like World of Warcraft, I don't think it's a case of that being the case. I think nobody's going to be able to compete with them. I think Pokemon is literally it's still alive and well. I think that's the beauty of Pokemon. First of all, they didn't call it Pikachu. It's a bit like you got Dragon Ball. If they call the show Goku, or let's me take Naruto. Naruto, I haven't even watched Naruto that much. I have to admit, I'm a Dragon Ball person more than that. But if they call the show, if they call the show something else, like Ninetales or something, or something about what the franchise, if it was the name of a franchise, you could swap out Naruto for somebody else and keep the thing going in a different way. Of course, I don't. Now, for those who know Naruto more than I do, I apologize for being so ignorant. But let's say Pokemon. You can switch out Pikachu, you can switch out Ash Ketchum, you can switch out the voice actors. You probably can switch out Shigeru Miyamoto at one point. No, Shigeru, excuse me, Satoshi Tajiri at some point.
Yeah.
And the franchise will keep going. It's such a strong thing that's kept alive by its fan base, who then Nintendo seems to know how to please very well. That I don't think anybody's going to be able to compete with it properly. It's a bit unless the only thing that can happen is if I love that line in The Incredibles. It's too strong. The only thing that can defeat it is itself. So this is what I see what's happening with Disney right now.
Well, to be fair, the last couple of games that have been released by the Game Freak have been kind of lackluster. People have been complaining about them.
Well, there you go.
They've been pushing a little bit too hard on the corporate side, pushing towards games that make money instead of good quality games.
Right. So that's it.
But, I think that the problem is that companies that reach the top, they basically become the monopoly, and they can make money hand over fist. I mean, Pokemon is the most successful franchise, period, of all human history, in all of the world, in all of our existence. Pokemon is the most successful. It trumped Marvel, DC, Star Wars, anything. It's made more money than freaking sense. But of all that money, they haven't seemingly kept up with current times. They've kept an old formula, they've kept old styles, and the games aren't improving. I think that I get that Pokemon is geared. Their target audience is children, and it's always going to be children because they want kids to play the games, to connect, to watch the anime, to buy the toys, to buy the clothes, to buy all the paraphernalia around Pokemon because it's a good market, get the kids hooked, and the parents will end up paying through the teeth.
Yes.
But I feel that there's a massively untapped market, that there are older gamers like me. Hey, I've been playing for decades. I grew up with this. I am willing. Here's my, take my money.
Yeah.
it's the Fry meme. I'm willing to pay to pick something I want.
Yeah.
And that's why I was so impressed with Legends Arceus that came out a couple of years ago. That was a game that felt far more geared towards an older audience. Yes, it was still a kids' game, but it was geared towards an older audience. It was kind of an evolution in the style of game that was really welcome. And then they went right back to classic Pokemon, and just kind of boring. It's a shame, really. But it's why I've been branching out. I'm not getting what I want from Game Freak, so I'm branching out, trying other games, and I think that Pokemon will always rule the roost. Unless they screw up, unless you said it yourself, you said it perfectly. They are going to be the only people that can take them out. The only people who can take down Pokemon is Pokemon.
Yes, that's it.
But there should be competition. There should be other games in the field. Companies don't want competition because it costs money. You have to spend money and time in order to catch the audience. They want a monopoly. That's the goal of any company. And Game Freak has a monopoly. But I think they need a shot in the arm, or someone to light a fire under their ass and stop. Putting some actual work in.
I agree. I think. Let me see now. Excuse me. I think, my good man. Like you said, I think a bit like, who knows? Not every, I guess when I think Nintendo, sometimes I I think, or Japan, I think a lot of companies acting the same way. They don't act the same way. Capcom, when they realized that their stubborn ways were shot in the foot when Street Fighter Rainbow Edition came out, they had to pull their socks up.
Yes.
Hmm. But when it comes to Pokemon, who knows? That I hope. Well, I think here's the thing. There are a bunch of people with mini monster franchises that are just waiting in the wings to see if we can get a shoe in. But here's the thing. It's first of all, kids can a bit like with YouTube channels. We can follow multiple YouTubers. Kids have multiple. I mean, it's like you have different games. We have different things we can follow. We don't only have to play Pokemon, but
True.
Pokemon is just to worry about Pokemon. But at the same time, like you said, there are other competitors are providing things that Pokemon are neglecting. Nintendo have done this with a bunch of a lot of Japanese companies. In Japan, we know it's like it's people get set in their ways here, and they sometimes they don't react until they get a good slap in the face. So I guess what can we say? We'll see. I don't see it happening. I think considering Nintendo is so successful, Nintendo Pokemon is so successful. I loved writing about it in college. I'm pretty sure that the GDP of Japan is partially linked to Nintendo, and
So it is the most successful. It is the most profitable company in the country,
right,
which is crazy because you think car companies,
Yeah, for goodness sake, yeah. So with that being said,
Sony,
even better. So there you go. One franchise, one bloody IP. So when you got that going on, I don't think Nintendo's going to allow it to lose. I'm pretty sure, like I said, you've got so much hanging off this. This literally the power of it powers the economy in numerous regards. Just like the Mario movie, of course, brought a lot of money from overseas back to Japan. There are a bunch of people in the financing department probably saying, "All right, we're selling less than expected here. What the hell's going on?" I'm pretty sure that they're like yellow, red zones. I mean, was it alert? They have alert signals that I wonder. But right now, I think that they think that they're comfortable. I think what will. But here's the thing about studying war and console wars and business wars. It's very interesting to study. I love chess as it goes. I'm gonna check out that video about chess in a few minutes. Hours.
just as a unique game, but it's a strange situation. It's just maybe I'm just grumbling because I'm unhappy with the state of the gaming industry at the moment. I'm unhappy with all these cuts, all these firings, layoffs of so many staff, and so many the standard practices that have been bred out of an industry that was only a few decades ago, counterculture is now mainstream and now hugely profitable. It's just not great. I think that, or I hope that gaming goes the way of film. Film was originally thought of as kind of a common man's entertainment. It was trashy, and people were like, "Oh, you go to the cinema, like it's cheap and it's cheerful." But it went through a renaissance period. It had a period of people pushing it as an art form, of really trying to show what you can do with a movie. And it went from something cheap and cheerful to a respectable art form. And gaming has yet to bridge that gap yet. It's yet to be treated as an art form. It's still thought of as a kid's game, as a toy, as a kind of a cheap and cheerful thing that people do. And because of that, there's a lot of terrible practices that are allowed to people can get away with in the industry. Hopefully, in time, it'll get better, but I'm just frustrated with seeing the thing I love, seeing a hobby that I genuinely enjoy. I genuinely love be denigrated and see so many people being screwed, being paid in passion or exposure.
Yeah, I know. I feel, man. I mean, as you know, people behind the scenes. In fact, maybe I left it in. I didn't edit it out in some videos, but I'm really quite frustrated myself. Even us people, us curators of content, right? Us reactors, in other words, on YouTube, are not only grumbling about the state of the gaming industry, but even the marketplace in general. Maybe it's a generational thing. that's that we're having to deal with contending right now. But mm, a lot of us are operating with different ideals. I think when it comes to what kind of experience we think would fulfill us in the entertainment arena. Some people are happy just to see a company do well. So if it's somebody, oh, this person's fine, don't worry, the company lives on, yeah, and some people say, no, that's my guy, how could you, and that happens quite a bit. Again, similar again with YouTube, it could be somebody get kicked off the platform, and so where any field, but I guess I also have this Dragon Ball philosophy right here, maybe of Vegeta, but he says a true champion rises to meet a challenge instead of complaint. Sometimes, I mean, we're going through an interesting change right now, especially with AI coming up, and of course, I've spoken about it many times before. It's not this great replacer per se of you. It's a fantastic tool that, in my opinion, at least, that can not only augment what we do, but maybe give us reach into other forms of expression that we didn't have at our fingertips before. But again, to augment it, because we still have to put our human signature, a thumbprint on it, in my opinion, to make things actually feel real. But that being said,
Yes.
when we're about to break through to a new phase, it could be there could be a number of reasons why. Maybe a new generation of kids are coming up with a new appetite for something, or or the economy could be feeling it, or I don't know, somebody in some big figurehead is diagnosed as terminally ill and they have to step aside, and people have to start scrambling, and all sorts of things could have caused a domino effect that we may be witnessing. But the best people have to adapt to it. So again, my thing is with I like Quentin Tarantino movies. I haven't seen one in a while, but Quentin, he's an interesting guy. His name Quentin, isn't it? I think
Quentin Tarantino, yeah.
He when he had this thing with Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown movie before Kill Bill, but by the time movies like The Matrix are coming out and Targeting Dragon, Rush Hour, and a lot of martial art movies are getting popular, he came out with Kill Bill, and it was I guess it's a step up from what he done before, but it still has that Quentin touch to it. After that, you bring out Inglourious.
He's one of the few directors who I genuinely consider an auteur. He has a very distinct style. All of his work is very quintessentially his. You watch it and you're like, hey, that's a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's like, some of the great auteurs. Steven Spielberg makes family-friendly, giant blockbusters. If it's a Steven Spielberg movie, I think, there's going to be a certain level of quality involved. If I'm watching Stanley Kubrick movie, it's going to be a beautiful artsy thing. Every scene is going to look great. It's going to be well choreographed and kind of trippy. But the same can be said of what's his name, the explosions guy, The Rock, and the Transformers, Michael Bay. God damn, Michael Bay. He's a plague on cinema, but he is an auteur. His movies are very much a Michael Bay movie.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just a lot of scantily clad women and explosions, but shit, people keep buying tickets, so what do I know? It's the frustration. I think I'm frustrated because, much like in games and in cinema, I want the medium to progress. I want to see some great works, but I am not seeing that. I am seeing stagnation. I am seeing the similar things and boring things. But that is not indicative of the genre, and that's not indicative of the field. That might just be representative of the times we live in. We live in kind of a turbulent period. Now, that's not to say that our forebears didn't go through crap as well, but we are living in a very unpleasant time. Just turn on the goddamn news.
Yeah.
And it was remarked years ago that people who are in a comfortable place or people who feel secure are more willing to experiment and try new ideas and dangerous things. But if you're not in a safe place, you will default to something that's familiar and comfortable. It's like if you're in the trenches, you're not playing a war game. You're not playing watching an artsy film. You're playing Animal Crossing. You're playing something with some stability, something reliable, and people are turning to that in film
Yeah.
and TV. The only medium that I think is really pushing it these days is TV. TV's, between Netflix and Hulu, they're pumping out sort of true, but we've seen some pretty great TV shows in the past 5, 10 years. They've really pushed the gambit, and we're seeing international products as well, which is nice. But I
Mm,
don't know, gaming used to sell itself on graphics, but we reached a cap at that point. It's games aren't going to get that much more graphically impressive. I think we have to move into more story rich. We have to move into the art as
yeah.
opposed to the visuals. And film is doing the same. Occasionally they bring out some great stuff, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just a curmudgeonly old guy. Grumble, grumble, grumble.
I think you're onto something, man. There's it's not. Yeah. I mean, this. Hmm. I think what you're referring to also is, like you're saying, well, essentially, it's the way the world works, the way the psyche works, and all that stuff. I think you were saying before, like typically people tend to become a bit more conservative or maybe traditionalist as they get older, and they're older, younger, and so on. Just like in politics, just as in with the entertainment. I think some people like consistency and stability even as they mature, and this is why people say back in my day quite a bit, but ultimately, I think, like you said, who knows? Maybe there'll be another player that comes on the scene, and Pokemon will be that classic. But in my opinion, considering here's the thing: what makes Nintendo and Pokemon stick around is that they are, excuse me, is that they are. Jake, what are they? Sorry, they are a game company. That's what I'm trying to say, technology company, and because of that, they're always expected to bring out the next best bit of technology, tech as well. And of course, those who don't do it get kicked out of the mainstream arena, like it's Sega. But and it's not so much Sega didn't bring out the best stuff; it's that they couldn't do war properly. I suppose when Sony came on, it's like one of those. So Nintendo people are expecting because they call themselves, "Are you a game company? Are you?" So do something that's up to date, and they're like, "Yeah, but this is not broke. Don't fix it." You got people like it the way it is. Yeah, but I don't know about that. In fact, people didn't like your Dexit situation. Shut up. All right, we'll vote with our dollars. So and then people end up talking with their money. At the end of the day, like you say, people, society is changing and so on, but certain things stay consistent. Nintendo, I'm sure. I don't. I personally, if I was a betting man, I'd say they'll be back. They're probably going to try and brush up for the next console, next gen.
Mm.
That's my opinion. But yeah, I'm glad you brought this to our attention. Actually, with the rise of new monster games coming up. Speaking of which, I suppose because we're at this part of the interview, and sadly I've only got
Mm.
20 odd minutes. Maybe I should bring up to talk into the Steam Deck that we were going to discuss. Speaking of other games and so on.
Yeah, excited. There was rumors not long ago about an updated version of a Steam Deck, like the PlayStation Plus or the PlayStation Pro, like a not a new console, but just like a souped-up version to kind of bridge that gap because they wanted to support, officially Steam, Valve, the company that released the Steam Deck, has said we want to support it for a long period. But there's been rumors coming out now that they're pushing ahead. They've already put licensing down and they started production of a Steam Deck 2. But it was so successful, so popular when hit the ground. It hit the ground running, and it has generated an entire new industry, a whole new industry, a whole new field of technologies being spreading. Handheld PCs, and emulation devices were always around, but now it is a big thing. There is a market. People want to play their classic games. People want to play the old games, and they want to do it in their now. Instead of playing it on a PC, give them something that put in their hand. So I'm excited for this one, but I do think that it's going to have to be very, very impressive because already there are companies releasing tech that rivals the Steam Deck, and the one recently even better. People are taking Steam Valve to task, and that kind of competition is going to breed ingenuity. It's like
Mm,
Nintendo releasing the Switch after the disastrous Wii U.
mm,
Wii was a clever idea, but the tech wasn't fully there, and they pushed ahead. Poor move. They expected there to be a massive market, but no. The Wii was so successful but because of the casuals. People came
mm,
along, played with it, but they weren't gamers. They weren't going to pick it up and play the next Mario or Zelda game. It was
mm. Yep, yep.
the regular players who wanted it. But
Interesting.
now it's now not only Nintendo and Microsoft is looking to buy Activision, so they're going to try and corner the market by buying out other people. PlayStation has started to move to the PC market. They're starting to sell their games on PC.
Oh my god.
And Nintendo's kind of riding high. They're doing all right. They won this generation.
Mm.
Everyone's excited for the Switch too. As long as our libraries are transferable, it's okay. But it's important to recognize that there is a whole new market growing, portable PCs, and they are impressive.
This is very interesting. Thanks for sharing this news. All right, I'm definitely gonna upload this as soon as we finish recording it. I can't wait any longer. This stuff needs to be heard. um, all right, let's see. Well, okay, let me give my two cents. Not to mention, of course, when it comes to the Switch, this is war. I just love I just love looking at the whole, I don't know, the battles of these consoles. I mean, this is it's a gangster move, if you will. Microsoft's trying to buy market Activision, Sony trying to get on the PC market. Jeez Louise, and now Nintendo, oh, they got their little sect, and they have to keep the market cornered. Thank God for the Super Mario Brothers movie, man. That's all I can say. Yeah, guess what? I heard from Michael. In case you don't know, people, he's a new guy. We're going to bring on the channel eventually. That they're bringing out the Mario movie a bit again, just to run it in cinemas a bit longer. Something tells me that they're going to try and break that Frozen 2 Frozen 2 target. Who knows? If they do it, I'll be like, yo, Nintendo,
Oh,
gangster.
that's I hope so. I hope so. Yeah.
That'd be because at first I was like, all right, well they beat Frozen 1, but if they beat Frozen 2 before the end of the year, that's because Nintendo, one thing that they've got, the one thing that they always had that the other consoles never did is IPs. And what I mean never had, I mean family IPs, family friendly IPs. And because they got the kid market and the family market the way they do, Famicom, that's that. I think that's part of the reason why they're a bit stubborn and slow to change. They feel nobody got the family market like us. Crash Bandicoot, or all these other Spyro the Dragon, on the PlayStation, all these little would-be kids icons. Yeah, man, they're not doing what they didn't do. Nintendo numbers. So that's one thing. So everybody got their corner, and Nintendo doing this making it a success. It's a smart move to protect themselves going forward, because everybody else is racing over technology. Not to mention AI again. But the beauty with AI is that everybody can do it now. So it's not even a case of, I mean, like the young basement dweller can try and compete with the market with AI these days, because they have a bunch of computers in their basement and hopefully some good ventilation. But Nintendo has a bunch of AI coders too, not to mention all the other guys. And if they all, so if they all put their heads together, it'll be a big old nuclear bomb. But at the end of the day, everyone's got their way to try and stay in the market. And Nintendo's thing is IPs. They have to listen to the audience, and boy, who knows? I mean, another thing that was I don't know why, but I just had a little flashback in my mind of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. I mean, because I was thinking about this Nintendo Mario movie and the success of the Sonic movie. But Nintendo, I think they're very good at even bringing IPs onto their platform and making it a win-win. Except, I don't think you're going to see a Sega console come back. That'd be sweet if it did, but again, there's no space. Unless Sega would have to collaborate with somebody, but again, they'll probably get laughed out of the place. But again, even Smash Brothers, you got IP in that thing, in that universe from all over the place, and
it was a smart move when they introduced other characters from other platforms. I mean, the first Smash Brothers, it was a love letter to Nintendo's characters, and people loved that. When they started bringing in Solid Snake and Sonic,
You're like,
Oh,
whoa, what the hell? And then finally, when they brought in like Terry Bogard and Banjo Kazooie, you're like, okay. Even then, especially with Rez sad history with Nintendo. Well, as the Guru Larry says, keep the hell away from Nintendo if you're a British developer. But oh, I remember that line forever, man. It cracks up my whole family. But yeah, my gosh, but yeah, this is how some people game in the console war department. So you see, Gamer Dan, when you bring up stuff like this, I was always start wondering because by the way, guys, I'm not so excited enough to wrap up in about 8 minutes or so. Just for today, but we'll be back because I'm still kind of scratching my head about the way to go forward. I really love. I really get. I mean, when I first listened to Top Hat Gaming Man, like we're both fan of him. I started listening to DJ Slope and Guru Larry and so on. That's what one day I was just binge watching on YouTube and I ran into these guys. Like, you're the gaming historian and Angry Video name note is a bit strong for me at first. I was expecting something a bit family friendly, but after a while, I got his humor. I'm sometimes a bit of a slow one when it comes to dark or gritty humor. Sometimes, but and of course later on he has a lot more mature takes, like when it comes to his film reviews and so on, like the Sonic movie review and so on. But anyway, when I got those guys, I started to listen to them talking about the progression of the gaming industry. Like if you check out the one video I love is the history of Tetris. Actually, that's from the gaming historian. How even governments get involved to try and manipulate markets to try and make gaming companies succeed. Guru Larry put a video about the Yakuza having, I think it was Sega, kidnapping somebody from wanting to move to work at Nintendo. And I was like, geez Louise. And when you hear all these interesting stories, it makes gaming even more rich. This is why people become tribalistic because I mean, it's not only just tribalistic because every one of these companies, they'll do what they can to save their own necks at the end of the day, and including betray their audience. So it's not about loyalty so much as where can you get a good game, but you do feel like a spectator of this console war sport, if you will. Sometimes when you watch these things, and it's very intriguing. It gets me interested, and so I'm just thinking about what we should do next because guys, we want to bring out like I said, gaming, and I'm gonna try and get the word out there. I think the best thing to do is to start branching. I just think I had the idea, Gamer Dan. Maybe we should. I'm thinking to start reaching out on other platforms, just one by one, asking people if they want to, if there's a game they'd recommend. Because of course I can rely on YouTube algorithm to push me, but I got a bit of a bad rep from YouTube sometimes because of my other stuff. So I'm going to try and reach out and see if we can build a bit of an audience, a consensus of what we should move on to next. I do love looking at the industry. It's looking about what's happening next. That stuff is just like it's like brain food for me. But I do love.
I want to do that. I mean, I'm happy to join. I'm happy to play games. I'm already playing, so I might as well play with you guys. You out there in YouTube
land, yeah.
But I'm interested in the industry. I play games. Gaming is like one of my primary hobbies. And I want to see new games. I want to try new things, and maybe I want to have my tastes expanded and my opinions challenged. But if you were interested in the industry side of it, we can lean into that. More reviews. Yeah, I'm playing enough games to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm pretty sure what we'll end up doing at some point is combining the two. When we start gaming, we'll probably have a little chat about the industry in the process. But it'll be a bit double show. So okay, for what we'll do today, by the way, thanks so much for those topics, Gamer Dan. That was brilliant.
Happy to be here, buddy. Always happy to be here.
Super. All right. So like I said, I think I'm gonna go digging around my neglected Twitter account actually, and start bringing people to the next week's show. We'll see. Maybe we could stream, but I'm going to work out maybe we can stream on that show, but maybe it may take a moment to set that up. If anyone out there knows a good way to stream an emulator from Steam, let me know. If not, then
I play games. I play emulated games on Steam, but if someone knows how to get us playing together,
that would be the dream. Okay. All right, let's give that some thought then, everybody. All right, today I guess that's going to be it. So, yeah, I got to run right now. Yeah, Dan, do you have any last closing comments?
try something new every day.
Ah, it's a nice bit of food for thought right there. Or I believe that's how you phrase it. Yeah, brain food. Yeah, no, that's
Who
something else.
thought?
Who thought that's the one? Yeah, brain food is sushi, I believe. Apparently. All right, people. We'll catch you next time. Game of Done. Thank you, mate. We'll catch up very soon. Peace.
Peace.